Today, I want to talk to Gen Z. You're entering the workforce, and you've probably felt it, that frustration of being overlooked. You've got ideas, you've got insight and initiative, but no one listens. Why? Because influence does not begin with your voice, it begins with their respect. Welcome to the Powerless Leader Podcast, a podcast for everyday influencer lead from the middle. I'm George Engel, leadership coach, educator, and founder of Lead. If you've ever felt unseen, unheard, or undervalued in your workplace or team, this is for you. Each episode, we dive into real stories, practical tools, and timeless principles to help you grow your influence, even when you have no formal authority. Because leadership isn't about titles, it's about impact. So whether you're a young professional, a seasoned team member, or someone just trying to lead where you are, lean in. Your voice matters. Your leadership counts. This is the Powerless Leader Podcast. Let's rise together. Well, good morning and welcome back to the Powerless Leader Podcast. I'm here to add value to you and to help you grow wherever you are and to help you find something greater, even though you don't have any power in your workplace. And today I want to talk about John Maxwell's law of respect. And what that law says is that people naturally follow leaders that are stronger than themselves. Let me say that again. People naturally follow leaders stronger than themselves. Now, that doesn't mean notice it says stronger. It doesn't say louder. It doesn't say older. It doesn't say more experienced either. But it means people will follow somebody they'll believe in, someone who has earned their respect. Now, here's the challenge for Gen Z and for others of us as well that are out in the workforce. For Gen Z, you're entering it. You're stepping out of college. When you're going into the workforce, some of you have never actually been into a workplace before because you've been able to, your sole focus has been on academics. So you've never really stepped into a work environment other than maybe, at a restaurant or something like that where you may have put a few hours in as a teenager. So this is a whole new world for you. And we have to understand in those workforces where you're entering, authority is earned. It is not assumed. A person's authority needs to be earned. Even if they have a title and a position above you, they may not have that respect that they deserve or that they should have. Their title doesn't carry the weight it used to. You see, respect is your currency. And if you're leading from the middle, you're leading from the sidelines, or you just literally walked in the door of your new job, respect is all you've got. We have to understand that respect is the soil influence grows in. Without it, your leadership will never take root. We need to be able to earn respect. So let's be real. Let's be real. If you're Gen Z especially, there's a good chance you're probably the youngest on the team. You're new to your role, fairly new to that role. You're still trying to get your voice heard. And sometimes you even get labeled lazy, entitled, impatient, stuck to your cell phones, can't get away from social media. Some of these things sound familiar. But you know what? I've seen the actual opposite. I've worked with Gen Z. I've spent the past several years working with Gen Z. And I have seen Gen Z leaders who are driven by purpose, who are hungry for personal growth and growth in their organization, and deeply value-based. The problem is, if nobody respects you, the ideas you have, the wonderful things you can bring to the table aren't going to go anywhere. I have felt that myself when I first started out and I would try to speak out, my voice would not be heard. And they're like, yeah, you're young, you don't understand. And what we can't allow that to do is silence us to the point where we just never speak up again. So how do we earn respect? If we don't have a title, we don't have any tenure in the organization, and we don't have experience. Well, you start by what I've been focused on all along in all these episodes, and that is leading yourself. That's where it starts. You master your craft. You stay consistent. You communicate. See, I can't even communicate. Listen to me. I can't communicate clearly. And that's the words I'm trying to say here. You communicate clearly. You listen first. And you take initiative without always waiting for permission. You know, people may doubt your age, but they cannot deny your excellence when you work on those 4, 5 things. Again, you master your craft. You stay consistent. You communicate clearly. There it is. I got it finally. You listen first and you take initiative. If you pursue that with excellence, people will not doubt you, regardless of your age. You know, when I first started teaching all those years ago, I've been a teacher for 30 years now. When I first started teaching, my students were only a few years younger than me. You know, I entered the teaching world at about 28. You know, and I had, so they weren't that much younger than me, and they were still part of me, my generation, Gen X even. And some were louder, some were more confident than I was. And I can remember one student, we'll call him Jason. I'm not going to use his real name here because I don't want that getting out. But he made it his mission in that classroom to test every boundary he could with me. It was my first year teaching at that school, and he challenged me in every possible way he could. He even got so mad at me, he got up and stormed out one day. You know, I didn't have the power to kick him out. He kicked himself out. And well, it happened to be also back to school night where I had parent-teacher conferences. And well, guess whose father showed up that night at that conference? And he and Jason and I had a conversation together. And I showed up to him and I treated him with dignity. I was consistent in the way I treated with him. And I held my ground with integrity, even with his father. I worked my way to try to help Jason understand where we were in the classroom and who I was. You know what? Eventually, Jason didn't just calm down. He actually started looking to me for advice. We began to develop a relationship because Jason finally got to understand who I was and began to respect me. And this next year, he was a senior year. I didn't have him in my classes anymore. But after we went through all of that, he came to me for a letter of reference. And what I did is I was able to earn his respect more than anything else. Our respect is earned. It is never given. We can't just walk into a room and expect people to respect us immediately when they don't know who we are. But you know, once you earn that respect, it opens doors and ways to influence people you never thought possible. I've heard it said, your reputation enters the room before you do. Do you hear what I said? Your reputation enters the room before you do. So when people know you're coming into the room, how are they going to respond? Do they know who you are? Do they respect you and who you are in the workforce and who you are as a person on the team? Or do they cringe when they know you're coming into the room? Oh no, here we go again. We've got to be able to build respect on our team and to do what it takes. So I want to talk about 4 ways we can earn respect when we don't have authority. And I want to get practical about it. Okay. Number 1, we have to own our role. For me, my role was a teacher. I stepped into the classroom and my role was to add value to my students as a teacher. And I had to own that. And whatever that assignment is, we have to do it with excellence. People respect competence. So if you're new to a role or you've just been there a few months, whatever. You need to do it with excellence. Whatever that assignment is, no matter how painstaking you have to be or how much of a grind it happens to be at the moment, do it with excellence. So you need to own your role and do it with excellence. You also need to show humility and hunger. You don't need to pretend you know everything. That was one of my problems when I was young. I thought I knew everything. I thought I knew how to teach the ins and outs, and I didn't. And it took a mentor to help me realize that. But that mentor helped me grow as an educator and become the person I am today. You don't need to pretend to know everything. Instead, show that you're hungry to grow. You're much more likely to gain the respect of the people who lead you when you show humility and you show a hunger to grow, both in your workplace and in your personal life. So we want to own our roles. We want to show up with humility. We want to show up with hunger, but we also want to add value to people without needing credit. Did you hear me? What was that? Wait a minute. I'm not supposed to get credit for it? I know it's tough, right? I mean, I can remember many times in my life where my head was screaming that I should get credit for something. I was screaming, wanting so badly to have the credit for something I did, but I never got noticed. At least I thought I didn't get noticed when I did. And people were paying attention. What you need to do is take initiative to solve problems, speak up, but support others as well. When you serve well, people start seeing you as a leader. And that's going to be an upcoming episode soon about being a servant leader. That's going to be a great episode. We have to understand that if we want to add value, we need to add value without expecting credit for it. It will come. And it may come in ways you never expect, but it will come. But you need to go in and add value to the people around you without expecting any credit at all. And finally, as I talked about in our last episode, we need to model our emotional intelligence. We need to stay steady when others are reactive. We need to listen first and listen deeply. We need to be empathetic. And when you do these things, it will set you apart in any room you're in. You know, you don't have to be in charge to be influential. You need to be consistent in who you are and in your character. So here's my challenge to you this week and over the next couple of weeks. Pick one of those 4 challenges: owning your role, showing humility and hunger, adding value without needing credit, and being a model of emotional intelligence. Practice it where you are, whether you're still in school, whether you're at work, or even in a local friend group, your peers. And I want you to ask yourself, what are you doing today to earn somebody's respect? Because here's the key. It takes a long time to earn respect. It really does. And to build respect or to build a reputation. But it only takes a moment to ruin it. And that's why we have to be consistent in our growth and building that respect and making sure we do not do something to destroy that. And it takes just a moment. And if you want to help grow your influence as a young person, as a Gen Z leader, visit my website at 23lead.com. I've got some tools there that can help you. Reach out if you feel like you need some personal coaching opportunities. Some assessment and tools that can help you gain clarity about yourself to build confidence even when you're overlooked. You know, and if today's episode resonated with you, please share it with a friend, like it, share it, rate it, comment on it, and share it with someone who's also trying to lead from the middle, from the bottom, from wherever they are in their organization. Remember, you're not powerless. You're not. You just haven't learned how to use your influence yet. And that's my goal, is to add that value to you so you can start building your own influence. Thank you for joining me on the Powerless Leader Podcast. Have an awesome day. I'll see you in 2 weeks.